So hey everybody, I'm Prem Bhatti. I'm a co-founder at Cooleaf. I'm joined up here on stage with my co-founder John Duisberg. We're based in Atlanta, and we launched out Cooleaf as a platform for employers a little over a year ago. I'm going to start out by telling you a little bit about myself personally. I've got 3 amazing kids that drive me nuts sometimes, but I love them. And I play tennis when I get a chance, which isn't very often these days, but love to play. I played a lot more in high school and college. Also played guitar in high school and college, and love to do that when I get a chance. I'm also up for a new adventure like skydiving or rock climbing or whitewater rafting. So that's a little bit about me, but here's the thing. You all know a lot more about me than a lot of folks from my prior corporate life. See, when I was in the corporate world, there was a separation between that corporate side of myself and the real side of myself. And I have to think that it's not just me, because when I look at statistics like 70% of this country's workers being disengaged, I got to think that other people are not forming the true, authentic relationships in that work environment because they're bringing a different side of themselves to work. So we actually decided to start Cooleaf to solve this issue, to begin to solve this issue, which is a problem that actually causes over $550 billion in lost productivity every year for this country. So Cooleaf is a platform that we decided to start to essentially create linkages, tighter linkages between employees around activities that they love, whether those are employee-driven activities or employer-driven activities. We heard a lot about corporate culture today, and you're going to learn about how we make this real. We're a platform for everybody from the top workplace that wants to stay there to the workplace that's not yet there that wants to get there. And John's going to take us through how it works.
Thanks, Prem. So I will walk everyone through the product. And to do that, I'm going to ask you to put yourself in the shoes of Simona here, who's a new employee at our company. She doesn't really know anyone, and she's trying to get a feel for the organization. So Simona receives a secure registration link as a Kimberly-Clark employee. She logs into Cooleaf. During that process, she selects a few of her personal interests, and something you should know about her, she's pretty much a closet chef, loves anything to do with cooking. So once she logs into Cooleaf, right on top on her dashboard, she sees the interest that she selected, but the cool thing is she can also see that there's other people in her company that share her interests. So she decides to click on Tim to see his profile as someone who likes cooking, and from here she can see the interests that Tim shares. She can also see that Tim won the Golden Nugget badge for always coming up with crazy fun ideas, which made her laugh. So just as a side note, HR has the ability to create their own rewards and recognition based on the internal lingo and culture of the company that they hand out. She can see the past activities and events that Tim has signed up for, and she can connect with him as a buddy, so she's always in the loop whenever he signs up for something new. So she sees that Tim is attending an upcoming chef cooking demo and wine tasting event that is being put on by her HR team as a way for employees to meet one another. So she, of course, decides to check that out. She can see where it's going on, when. She sees who else is attending, and she's totally psyched to be able to meet other people in the company that share her passion for cooking. So she signs up, she jumps right in on the conversation and starts commenting on the chef that's coming in. So just to summarize, using Cooleaf, Simona was able to connect with other people in her company that shares her passions. She can view and sign up for events and activities that are going on in her company. She can create her own activities with friends and colleagues, and she can receive some cool rewards and recognition for participating.
So I'm going to talk about a little bit about our traction right now, what's actually happening in the marketplace. So we serve everybody from employers with 100 employees all the way to thousands. We count university systems, hospital systems, as well as the largest private school in the country as some of our clients. We've shown 25% month-over-month revenue growth. We've been a finalist for the 2012 Intel Innovation Award, and you can see some of the other press that we've received here as well. But how's it all becoming real? What's actually happening in these organizations that employees love so much? Let's talk a little bit about some of the examples. Things like running clubs that come together in employer organizations. Things like spontaneous Zumba outings that people put together in law firms. Things like dodgeball, rock climbing, and even fencing. Yeah, fencing. So I want you to think about that for a little bit and think about the team here. Why us and why this problem? So something about us is that we actually came at this with a relentlessness that's allowed us to bury through all the obstacles that have come in our way, whether that's iterating the product accordingly or making the right pivots when we need to. The other thing about us is that we bring a lot of experience to this, whether that's from Fortune 500s like American Express, McKesson, Availity, IBM, product management and technology and sales and marketing experience is what we bring to the table. We're constantly listening and iterating to the customers, finding out what the real pain points are and actually adjusting the product to actually accordingly make the traction that we need to. And we're authentic. This passes our own BS test. For us, this is something that we wish we had as employees in the corporate world. And we also think that we're just crazy enough to make it all happen. So thanks very much.
So you mentioned a lot of clients. How much are they paying you, and why do you think they're paying you? I mean, you
Yeah.
talked about the product, I get that, but why are they really paying? What is their incentive rather than the use case you made of the employee?
So
Sure.
I can start.
Yep.
So directly from an HR director, when she's looking to hire someone, she'll show them a picture of their rock climbing outing and saying, this is why you want to work for us, because this is a community. This is a great place to work. And so they look at it as a way to attract talent, basically to have a strong culture in their organization and be known as that top workplace. That's a big part of the value we bring.
And the other fact is that, for those top workplaces that are already there, there's a lot of pain point with organizing and actually consolidating this. You think about things like SharePoint, intranets. We're solving a lot of that pain point by consolidating a lot of that together. And providing a rewards and recognition system that's also a pain point for a number of folks. So we've signed on employers that are actually looking at this as purely a rewards and recognition platform, but see the benefit of everything else you can bring into this, whether that's things like HR actually consolidating, putting happy hours out there, or employees driving their own activities through it, and actually driving the culture and becoming part of the culture and having a platform by which to manage that. And the other part of your question was, how do we charge? We charge a PEPM, per employee per month, standard type enterprise SaaS product. And then we also have add-ons that we can do in terms of further programming for that, in terms of events that we might coordinate and logistics that we might put together for that employer.
Another quick question. So how active are the employees of the companies? Because in my mind, I've got so many social networks to be a part of.
Sure.
I fear that all the activity probably doesn't happen at the corporate social
Right.
site.
Yeah, so what we've seen is that, obviously, as we've started this out, a lot of the seeding of the HR-driven or employer-driven activities is when we start seeing momentum. But what we're starting to see, which is really great, is employees taking the initiative to say, hey, let me put together something for Dodgeball. And we provide a mechanism by which they can actually pull it down and quickly put that together with all the e-commerce sort of built in, and sort of have a rally up for the other people inside the organization. We're starting to see that that's emerging. Obviously, that's going to take some time as we get more implemented into an employer. It takes a few months to actually get to that pattern of where people are comfortable with the platform. But now we're starting to see that with the clients we already have on board.
And then also for the employee, if I want to participate in this fencing outing, this is how I sign up for it. And there's a limited number of slots. I have to book my spot before it's gone. There's 2 days left for me to reserve it. And so this is the method that HR uses to manage that process.
Hometown team. I'm an Atlantan as well.
All right.
So you've gained some traction we have so many Fortune 500s in Atlanta. It's great. I've seen you've gained some traction with a few of them. What's your plan, and how do you reach out to the HR people, and is there an approach towards the HR community?
Yeah, so we've leveraged distribution channels like brokers and consultants that are already out there, kind of have that feet on the street out there. What we found is varying degrees of success on that. What we found is working the best is actually C-level sort of attention to this as a priority. There's not a firm out there that doesn't want to be a top workplace. There's not a firm out there that doesn't want to have good employee engagement, that doesn't think recruitment and retention is an issue. It's now coming to the forefront with companies like Zappos kind of leading that charge. But not every company out there is like Zappos. We have companies that are top workplaces. We also have companies that are like, look, we know we're not there. We need to get there, and we need your help to get us there. So I don't know what's the other part of your question was in terms of momentum.
What's your approach? I mean, are you going to SHRM, or is there?
Yeah, exactly. So we are, we're hitting some of the, sort of standard SHRM kind of channels, but we're also reaching out because what we found is that HR oftentimes is going to execute what senior level executives are trying to do. So a lot of it is sort of outbound sales outreach to those folks to get the conversation going. Things like speaking engagements that we're getting more heavily involved in.
What's the longest, for one of your clients, what's the longest that they've had it installed for? I'm curious. How long have they been using it? Year?
A little over, around a year is the longest client that we've had now.
And are you seeing increasing engagement over time, increasing number of events, increasing customer?
Absolutely. What's really cool about it is that, generally when you have sort of engagement efforts that are based around, pure gamification and virtual, you oftentimes see adoption rates that start here and then go like that.
Especially in HR.
Right. And so what we've seen is because this is purely active driven and it's centered around the activities themselves, when people start seeing, okay, well, next month what's coming up, wine tasting that's coming up, We define a strategy for the employer based on the needs of the employees. As they start getting more comfortable with it and seeing, hey, this isn't BS, this is actually something that I want to get involved in, we actually see participation rates climbing. And in fact, satisfaction climbing also of this. We're tracking those metrics pretty carefully.
So typical use case is the HR team or executive in the company, they'll send out hey, everyone, sign up, this is our program, and then follow it up with, all right, hey, we're having a wine tasting outing next week. We want you to join. Here's how you sign up. And then next month, there's a new outing. And as they continue to have these outings, more and more folks are getting introduced to the platform.